All right, welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. You're watching Morning Cafe, being a Tuesday. Today, we want to talk about business. Biashara Tuesday. Kenyans are borrowing to survive, rather. I wanted to say borrowing to save, but that's also something we're going to talk about this morning, because actually some are borrowing to save. So borrowing to survive is actually a report that was done by the Star newspaper on the 19th of January that Kenyans are turning to digital loans and Shylocks to survive tough economy. And they attributed this to shrinking revenue, unemployment, and of course, high cost of living. Very, very interesting conversations. It's a new year, so what are the financial decisions that we should be making in 2026, of course, to make ourselves better and to also create a great relationship with money, right? So this is the conversation we are having with Kathleen Mureithi. And this is so interesting because Kathleen is the head of programs and training at Centonomy Limited. Well, I don't know if you don't know about Centonomy, but if you don't know, I'm not judging you. We are here today and they're very, very good at matters, you know, business, money, and we're here to learn. Our pens are ready, tutakuwa tunaandika pia kwa ubao. So pia wewe grab a pen, grab a paper, and tusome matters money. Good morning, Kathleen. Happy New Year.
Morning. Happy New Year.
So bado tunasema Happy New Year.
Bado tuko January. Wow. All
right, I want us to go right in. Amma, let's first of all start by just explaining what Centonomy is and what you do at Centonomy.
So Centonomy is a financial education company. We teach people everything and anything they need to know about money. So from how do we make money, how do we grow it, how do we protect it, how do we sustain it. So anything, any question you've had about money, Centonomy is the place to go. I serve as the head of programs and training, which means I'm behind the scenes person who puts together the curriculum, the content that people interact with in class. In addition to that, I now hire the experts, you know, the trainers, because if you want to talk about estate planning, you need a lawyer who's an expert in estate planning. So putting together all this human capital that will come up with this wonderful product that you get to interact with in class. So that's what Centonomy does.
All right, so you can hire me now that you...
We'll talk after this.
You say you teach people how to make money.
Yes.
How do we make money, Kathleen?
That's a nice... Okay, so what skills do you have? What are some of the things that you're good at that you can leverage in? What does the market say about what you're good at? So it's not something that you wake up one day and say, okay, today I'm going to make 1,000 shilling. It's an accumulation of processes or things that you do, daily activities that now get to a point where you're now able to say, I can be able to make this amount of money, especially if you're in the service, quote unquote service-based industry, because now the money you're making has to be commensurate to the level of effort that you put in. Okay, so that goes down to how much are you worth in an hour, so that by the time you're sitting down in that negotiation table, you're not minting at anything. You give me this amount of money because I know I'm worth this amount of money. So you start from there. Ideally, also for products, is you also need to be very keen and analytical. What is lacking in the market? So it's a whole lot of process that goes behind the scenes, so that by the time you're saying I'm selling this pair of shoe, you have actually seen that there's someone in the market who's willing to buy that pair of shoe for that amount of money that you want to sell it for. So it's a process, and we do this now, ideally mostly in the entrepreneurship program, where now we get to understand if you have a business idea, is it viable, is it scalable, and it's very practical. So we do a design thinking kind of process where you get to empathize, ideate, create a prototype, and then now come up with an implementation plan that if it works, well and good. If not, come back to the drawing board, let us recalculate and see how it's going to work again. Yeah.
And I'm just drawing these questions from what you told me you do at Centonomy. You make, grow, and protect.
Exactly.
That's how you make money. Say if you're in the servicing industry, for example, and of course, kama unatengeneza kiatu, there's a way you do it, each bringing income and whatnot. But then you make it, right?
Yes.
Then how do you grow it? Using that as an example, the shoemaker.
Cool. So of course, there's an amount of money that you make. All right. It's probably gonna cost me 5,000 to make this wonderful pair of shoe. I'm gonna sell it for about maybe 7K. Okay. know maybe that's high end, but for mathematical purposes, target audience again. So you already have an understanding of how money is playing around. So again, because you're in business, you also have to get to a point where your business has to remain afloat. So what do? You have to invest that money that you're making, okay? So where do you invest it? Again, it goes back to what are the goals that you have in your business. So it's not saying, oh, put your money in MMF or put your money in real estate or whatnot. You have to really sit down and keenly understand what are my goals as far as this business is concerned. For every business to be successful, there has to be a strategic plan that gives you a clear picture of where do I need to be in the next 2 years, in the next 3 years, in terms of my turnover, in terms of human capital, basically the whole entire structure. That, if you have that picture now, you're able to keenly understand where do I grow my money, and it's through investments.
All right. Yes. To protect, make, grow, and protect. That's what Centonomy does. Yes. You're talking about investment. What does protecting money look like? Does it mean I just, invest my money, put it somewhere, and that just leave it there to relax, or just put my money in a bank? And banks, for example, they depreciate in value, arguably. You're in the finance industry, you correct me. That if you have money in your bank, it just sits there, it doesn't grow, it doesn't do anything for you. So what is protecting money? You've made it, you're growing it, protecting it. How does it look?
So what you're actually talking about is some sense of growing it. Ideally also, unfortunately, because again, banks, if you look at the rate of inflation, banks usually give you a very low interest rate, But protection is insurance, protection is estate planning, protection is understanding taxation, protection is all that shebang, all right? So in terms of insurance, what are some of the policies that I need to understand so that this money that I'm really investing and growing is is being protected? Protecting comes in the sense of you're making money to enjoy it now, but you have generations to come. So you're probably going to have children. If you don't have, you already have a child or children right now. They're going to grow up and be big people in the society. So you want to set them ahead. So protection now comes into place. So things like trusts, how does that look like? Now this is estate planning. Things like wills, the living will, those ones that come to effect once I'm gone, Again, with life being very fickle, you can wake up tomorrow and be incapacitated, unfortunately, all right? So you're still alive, but you are not 100%. So you're 100% dependent on someone else. So how does that look like? Because you've worked so hard for your money, you don't want to get to a point where there's so many loopholes and now the government has to come and help you because you did not take charge in protecting your money. So that's the protection that we're talking about. In terms of taxation, what do you need to understand in terms of taxation? If you're a business person, say for example, I am Kenyan, I have a director who's not Kenyan. How does that look like in terms of taxation? I am in, say for example, importation of sugar. Excise duty is high up here for that because sugar is used for so many things, So because of that situation in the industry that I'm in, how does that look like in terms of taxes, and how can I protect myself so that at least I am paying the right taxes, and bare minimum I am paying taxes, because you have to pay taxes, unfortunately.
Absolutely. Yes. So we've already set the stage for this conversation, but let's go back to that report that I was talking about. The Star newspaper on the 19th said that Kenyans are now turning to digital loans and, of course, Shylocks. And knowing that digital loans, most are CRB regulated, but for Shylocks, then there isn't really some regulation going on there. But now, this report points out to, Kenyans still just relying on these two to survive. I wonder if you're seeing a reflection of this from where you sit.
Yes. I'll also point you to a report that was done by DFSAK, so Digital Financial Services Association of Kenya.
It's the same report.
It's the same report, good. So that means then, in a month, Kenyans are borrowing 500,000. Sorry, in a day. 500 million shillings in a day. In a month, that's 15 billion shillings, all right? Out of all these, about 8% of the population, so we're thinking about maybe 16 million Kenyans, they're borrowing to cover the gap between income and expenses. So they're not borrowing for growth, they're borrowing to survive. And that's where the red flag now comes in. So what does it say about us as Kenyans, especially when it comes to money. We are financially unhealthy. So people that take advantage of this now, the Shylocks, because now with other digital lenders, there's regulation again mandated by the CBK Amendment Act 2021. So CBK has the right to issue licenses and has the right to supervise. But there are people who still violate these standards. So Shylocks again, yeah. So, and then they take advantage of Kenyans because at that point, when it comes to borrowing, you're desperate in a way. So I want 5,000 shillings. You're going to say, all right, so I'm giving you 5,000, you pay me 6,500. At that point, I'm not thinking about the interest. And you know, when it comes to money, the price of money is interest. And during that time of borrowing, we don't really think about what is the cost of this money.
Yes.
At that point, I just want to maybe buy a few household items because that is what is needed, you know. And if you look at the population demography, especially young people because we have limited capacities in terms of formal employment. And it's good because we are a gig economy, but that means there are seasons of highs, seasons of low. So if it's during the seasons of low, I need to survive, you know. Unfortunately, I have to borrow, all right? For women, again, we are the ones that cover the household items, you know, in the house. You know, it's the women that will buy the cooking oil, the whatnot, because again, the society that we live in, all right? And then now we have business people. So you're starting out, you need an extra income to support A, B, C, and D, all right? So these are the demographics that we're working with. So that gives you a clear picture of pretty much everyone is within these three different spectrums, meaning a lot of us are borrowing and we don't understand the cost of borrowing. And that's unfortunate. We are very, very financially unhealthy.
Well, I was coming to that question, what are we doing wrong? Just after you talked about our relationship with money, which of course you've already answered, you've said our relationship with money is quite wanting. But what are we doing wrong? How can we change, you know, how we view money and just how we think about it in general, such that if we, you know, if we see money and think about money, then we are talking about making it, growing it, possibly protecting it if it's possible, then how do we change that mindset?
It's I like the fact that you've used the word mindset because a number of us are operating from a scarcity point of view, and it stems from how we grew up. If you have a conversation with people and they talk about how they started interacting with money or how they started being exposed to the idea of money is your parents are making it, using it, making it, using it. A number of us have had this statement, I don't have money at this point. So what does that do? So you grow up, you grow up in an environment where there's scarcity, there's lack. So when you start making your own money, you're trying to heal that inner child. I never got to wear these kinds of shoes. I never got to experience this growing up, so I'm going to compensate. So ideally, what does that do? It creates more or less like a looping effect. So you are at a point where you really need to change your mindset. So you operate now from an abundant point of view, but now you're still operating from a scarcity mentality. That's the first place that we went wrong. The second place is most of us are not really paying ourselves. The idea of saving, the idea of putting money aside is so foreign that we really don't get to a point where we sit down and say, I have 500 shillings right now, I can put aside 100 bob, you know, so we live day to day, you know, tomorrow will sort itself, you know, that's the mindset that we move around with. Then there's also the other thing of we never really get to reason out or think about emergencies. You remember when COVID happened, so many people were found unexpected, you know, so you don't have money saved, you have nothing that's coming, you know, you're in an industry that's highly affected, which means you're left at a point where it's either you move back home or you try and figure out something else to make money and make you sustain your lifestyle in the city, all right? So the idea of emergency fund, the idea of putting aside money to cover some emergencies is something that is not looked upon ideally. And what does that do? So it leads to people taking out debt because when life gets you to a point where now, okay, I have an emergency, there is no buffer for me to cover this. So now let me take out debt to do this. So you're solving today's problem, but you're creating tomorrow's problem again.
All right.
Yeah.
And we'll be getting deeper into, you know, the calculations. Don't go too far. Just stick there. Tukimalizia conversation, we'll definitely be going to the board to talk about savings and of course how to create an emergency fund, and also that point that you brought up how, you know, what you're paying for if you actually borrow. You use 5,000 as an example.
Yeah.
Then if I'm paying back 6,500, then what am I exactly paying for? We'll do that calculation in a short while. But I know you deal with a lot of young people,
Yes.
of course, who want to change, and we want to change the narrative and the mindset around, you know, money. But what are they borrowing to do, especially at a time when, you know, we're talking about fake it till you make it, you only live once, social media is booming, you want to, you know, live the way so-and-so is living, dress the way so-and-so is dressing, drive so-and-so's car, you know. So this demographic that you've encountered or you've interacted with at autonomy, right?
Yeah.
Then what do they tell you they're borrowing to do with this money?
Exploring. So they're borrowing to explore. So I'll give you the different phases of life and how people interact with money. So if you're a young person in your 20s, just like you've mentioned, my goals are not that big, all right? The only thing that I want to do is maybe be able to go on vacay. Hop on a plane, go to Diani, hop on a plane, go to Cape Town, do all these things, all right?
Yes.
So if I don't have the financial muscle for that, I'll borrow for that. I will not think about the implications of it later on. But right now, I want to explore. Okay, then there's sherehe, entertainment is a big part of our society. All right, every other weekend there's something happening. You know, there's a concert somewhere, there's someone performing somewhere, and we live in a society where peer pressure is very key. All right, so you don't have the money to experience that life or to enjoy that situation, but you're in a group of people who have money, maybe provided by their parents, or they have saved up a few coins, you know, by maybe selling something here on Instagram and all that. So what do? You borrow, all right? So for exploring and also for entertainment, ideally it's entertainment but with different facets, okay? So you haven't really figured out your money situation at this point. You get to your 30s. People are getting married around this point.
Yeah.
Okay, so guys are starting to think, oh, no, it's the season of establishment. I need to buy that piece of land. I don't have a car. Now I need to buy a car. You know, you've started earning considerably a good amount of money. So what do? You have debt that you accumulated in your 20s. So a bigger chunk of what would have been used to build your 30s is going towards paying that debt, all right? But again, life is moving, okay? So your peers are getting married. You also want to get married. As a guy, there's the dowry situation that happens. So what do? You take out loan to sort that out.
Oh, okay.
So you have accumulated another debt, all right? As a lady, again, there are elements of it that come to play. So you also end up taking loan because you want to support this man, right? So you're building together, okay? So you do that in this decade. You take out loan to buy that piece of land. So what are you doing? You're living from debt to debt. You clear this one, you get another debt. You clear this one, you get another. So you've explored the ones given by the bank. Now you're moving into these other digital lenders because they're easy, they're convenience. I just need to download an app on my phone, and in the next few minutes, I have money in my M-Pesa, all right? And then you get into your 40s. So 40s, we call that the season of consolidation. This is where now, over the weekend, instead of going for concerts or traveling and doing those road trips, you're not trying to see, oh, there's a piece of land that I bought, I have never seen it. You know, so it was just being sold, I sent money somewhere, but I haven't really been keen on where it is, what is the development in that area. So you're trying to consolidate all these things that you have accumulated, your assets accumulated in your 30s. So now over the weekend, now that's why you see people, you're going to Timau. There's a piece of land somewhere, I don't know where it is, I need to go and see it, you know. I have some coins that I've saved. There's the pension, now you're trying to find out, okay, so what does that mean for me? How much have I stacked up? Now you're thinking about retirement because now you're getting closer to retirement. Your kids are probably going to school at this point, so there's school fees. So if you haven't figured out your money situation in your 30s, that means, again, in your 40s, you're living in debt. If you see what I'm talking about, it means that there's so many of us who live our entire life in debt. Now, debt is not bad in as much as we're talking about it from this perspective. If you're taking out debt to invest in something that's going to bring money back into your pocket, by all means, please do that. But if you're taking out debt for survival, then there's something wrong that's happening here, and you're trying to solve a problem, but you're really not addressing the underlying issue at this point. So that's what the demography looks like. So if you're not keen in your 20s, if you're not taking care of your money in your 20s, it's going to happen again in your 30s, but now in a different way. In your 40s, now in a different way. When you get to retire, and we've seen so many people like in retirement, and in retirement, something that's very critical is the cash flow. So because in your 30s you're stacking up pieces of land, and land is a fixed asset, it's very hard for you to sell a piece of land. Like if I have an emergency right now and the only thing I have is land, it's very confusing, at this point. And that's exactly what happens in retirement. So I have so many fixed assets, but I don't have cash flow. So what you're doing again is creating the same problem, but now with your children. So your children are now forced to send you money every other month, black tax, to cover these daily expenses that you incur. We've seen stories where a father is not able to buy a piece of bread or breakfast every morning, but they have land, big tracts of land. And they don't want to sell it because we come from a traditional society where shamba is wealth. Yes, So now your kids are now forced to send you money every other month to cater for these daily expenses that you incur. Again, the loop.
The cycle continues.
The cycle continues, yeah.
And I was coming to that question on bad debts and, of course, good debts. We hear that a lot. You've already started it. You said investment, that's a good debt. But for survival, then that's a bad debt.
Yes.
And I'm looking at it from a point of, say, somebody is taking out a loan to, for example, buy a car. As much as buying a car could be to survive, right? Some would view it as an investment as well. So I don't know where you stand with, taking a debt to buy a car. Would you classify that as a bad debt or a good debt?
It's a mixed reaction. If I was to say that, because a car, if you're using that car to do your own personal stuff, you wake up in the morning, you drive to work, back home, drive to work, back home, or during the weekends you're doing your own shenanigans. Then in that case, the car is a consumption asset.
Isn't it saving on fare?
It is, but you're also still going to your pocket to buy fuel. Maintenance, all right? So I need to go back to my pocket for me to maintain or sustain my usage of this asset. So what does it do? It consumes more. So it's a consumption asset. But if I have taken out debt to buy a car that maybe over the weekend I'm doing the cab services or whatever, so I'm making money, at the end of the day, then it's an investment asset. So where you lie now is based on what do you want to do with this car. So if it's for your own personal reasons, then that's a consumption asset. I wouldn't advise for you to take out debt to buy a car unless you can be able to manage the cost of this debt. If you have capacity to manage the cost of this debt, by all means, please take it. But if it's going to push you to a place where now you also have to take more debt for you to sustain the usage of this asset, or for you to manage the lifestyle that comes with having this asset, then it's a bad debt at this point. So you also have to think very critically around it, okay? And that's why we see so many people over the weekend, because it's gonna pinch you at some point. So you say, oh, I'm actually very idle Saturday afternoon, let me do some Uber, so that at least I can make some money that's probably going to be fuel for the next week or the week to come. So it gets you to a point where it's going to pinch you so hard because, again, bad debt will always come to bite you. Yes.
So when we talk about survival and we hear others talking about convenience,
yes,
that, sometimes a car is a convenience, and just the other day I saw an somebody saying having your own car is actually a form of, what is it called? Skincare. That was the point.
Yes.
That having your own car is, is a form of skincare. Then others look at it from convenience, pay for convenience. Then is that a way of survival, and is that a bad?
That's a middle class behavior. Convenience. Yeah. we don't mind paying extra for convenience, but we don't sit down and do the mathematics of, okay, so I do not mind, honestly, I do not mind paying extra for convenience, but do I have that? Do I have a budget for that? So again, where do you draw the line? If it's not bringing you money at the end of the day, we can say as much as you want in terms of you having the car. It's going to make you feel good. We're going to call him Krugenzi, chairman, all these nice words. Again, image versus wealth creation. So the car gives you a nice sort of image. But at the end of the day, your pockets might still be empty. You have the car, but your pockets are empty. It's another analogy where people frown upon a certain kind of color, the Pro Box.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and then now,
Yawaru.
Yawaru, exactly. So someone will buy the Pro Box. That person has a car. That person is enjoying the benefits of having a car. But as a society, we frown upon that because gari, we know this car, gari ni biashara, you know. But that's a smart investor. So they'll use the Pro Box for 1 year, 2 years, do business with it, make so much money, then now go buy the car that they want. So you who's frowning upon this person, you've taken out debt to go buy your Benz, yeah? So guys are calling you all these nice names, madam, nana, nana, all those nice names. And then 2 years later, this person that had a Pro Box can afford the car that you're driving, and the Pro Box is still doing business on the side. It's a 1 + 1, you know? So if for you 1 + 1 is 2, by all means. If for you 1 + 1 is 11, again, by all means. But at the end of the day, once you accumulate bad debt, it's going to come back and haunt you. You really have to pay that debt. You have, whether you like it, you have to, yes.
Now you say that some people, you know, are in debt up until the later stages of life, say 50 years, 60 years, you know, from 18 to 40, going up, we are still in debt. Then financial education, right? When should this begin? Because a lot of people, as you said, as we age, then we don't quite understand how money operates, how debt operates, and how, you know, we buy property, you use land, and then it's just a fixed property there. We cannot get anything out of it. Then when should financial education start?
As early as possible. As early as you can, when you're 10 years, when you're 11 years, when you are young enough to understand how money works. And I love the fact that all these stakeholders that we have in the industry are now taking that very seriously and coming up with products that helps you now teach your children about money. So we have books, we have content, we have video, we have games about money, we have forms of savings where now your child can start saving. We have these conversations where there's an M-Pesa wallet where your child can be able to use. So now they understand the concept of money. Conversations where you have to earn it, you know, so money is not readily available. What do you do to earn it? So that means leveraging on the skills that I have. What am I good at? We've seen kids as young as 12 baking and probably going to play with their friends with their baked cookies and baked muffins, you know, and then selling them at a price. So where did this start? It probably started with a conversation with their parents or the guardians about how money works. So as early as possible, then that's when you need to start talking about money with your kids, because the earlier you do it, the better for you, because now they're able to understand the concept of money, my relationship with money and the lifestyle dilemma, image versus wealth creation, what is a budget, how do I work around it, you know, what is an emergency fund, I'm probably going to go back to school in the next 2 months, I see like I need a new pair of shoes, then let me start saving. All these conversations, it's good because now when your kids are bigger, they understand money in a different view, and it helps them.
All right. And you know, we're talking about debt, and debt is still a very big issue for a lot of people, and usually we can't always pinpoint you know, where things started going south. Why is it always hard to go back, look back and say, yenyewe nilianza kuomba pesa hapa, nilianza kukopa hapa, and this is where the rain started beating me from? Why is it always hard to just go back and say, I messed up here, this was the point?
You know, as humans, it's also very hard for you to accept that I made a mistake at some point. At the end of the day, we are humans. When it comes to money, conversations about money were not really welcomed. So it's very hard, if that's the environment that I grew up in, it's very hard for me to sit down and say, or even just look at my transactions on the phone and say, all right, so I've been sending money to all these people, this is how much was sent. I had no idea, okay? What is a budget? When was the first time you actually had the word budget? Probably in business class, you know, and you were now talking about what is a budget, how does it work? But prior to that, conversations around money, even with our parents, was very not welcomed. In fact, the only thing that we knew for most of us is anytime I need something, I need to ask for it. If there's no money, I'll be told there's no money, and now I need to figure out what to do at this point, all right? So with that in mind, then it gets very difficult unless something big happens that triggers that action, where now you go down, you sit down and you do the mathematics. It's very hard for you to have that conversation. And life has a funny way of putting us there. You get to a point where there's no money. You had money at the beginning of the month, right now you don't have money. So now you sit down, last week I had 15,000. Right now I can't even buy, you know. So you sit down and you do the calculations, and then that's when you realize, oh, I'm actually losing a lot of money in the process. And we have so many people who are now coming up with apps that make you manage your money. So they force you. They'll even do a reminder, have you inputted your transactions for the day, you know? Again, it goes back to inherently, what relationship do I need or do I want to have with money? So you, if you're the person that turns a blind eye, I don't want to know, I know I have money and all that, you will still have to go back and do that at some point.
All right. Before, of course, we go, you know, and do these calculations on the board and savings, emergency fund, and what you're paying for in terms of, you know, interest rates.
Yes.
We're talking about Shylocks and digital lending, and maybe as a public, we don't quite understand the risks this has on us as the consumers. What are the advantages of really just being deep into digital lending in this Shylocks?
Well, the advantage of that is once you understand how they operate, I usually say money is a game and money is a tool. The life that you want to live, the kind of environment that you want to be with, money is a conduit that gets you there. Now, digital lenders take advantage of this illiteracy around personal financial management. So something as, let's just go back to the example, you want 5,000, you get the 5,000, but the cost of it is 1,500, meaning you're going to pay back 6,500 shillings.
Let's do
If
that.
you're
Let's do that calculation.
All right, let's do
now
that.
that we are working with 5,000 Kenyan shillings.
Yes.
I'm trying to look for it where, you know, the real cost of a digital loan, right? Loan amount, we are working with 5,000 Kenyan shillings. I don't know where, should she stand on this side or the other side? Am I okay? Here? So we are working with, we said 5,000
yes.
shillings. I'll let you do this. So I'm just showing you that you're good, yes? 5,000 is what we are working
So
with.
this is what you want, what I want, all right?
Yes.
5,000. I go to a digital lender. They'll give me the 5,000, but they'll tell me 1,500 is the cost of this money, all right? So plus 1,500.
That's the interest.
That's the interest. How much is this? 6,500.
500.
All right. Ideally, for digital lenders, the duration is 30 days, so a month. So 1,500, let's do the cross multiplication. You remember back in mathematics class, yeah?
Okay.
So 1,500 times 100, how much is this? This is 30%. So the interest rate is 30%, the interest.
That's
okay?
a lot.
It's a lot. Bare minimum, this is a lot.
Yes.
All right, so you do that again and again and again. Because if you're borrowing 5,000, you're not borrowing for a big thing. You're probably borrowing so that you can buy cooking oil, so that you can pay Wi-Fi, so that you can, it's those small things.
For shoes.
All right? For shoes, you know, peer pressure and all that for sherehe. All right. So it's not something that's going to bring you money at the end of the day. I need to pay 6,500. Okay. So if 30% is monthly, so in 6 months, so you do 30 times 6. How much is this? 180. So in 6 months, the APR is the annual percentage rate. Is 180 for 5,000 shillings. Okay. So in a year,
Times 12.
times 12, how much is this? 360.
That is if you do not repay that loan.
If you keep on borrowing. See, you're paying and borrowing, you're paying and borrowing, you're paying and borrowing, you're paying and borrowing. Because if you're doing this, it's a constant loop, unfortunately for you. So you'll realize at the end of the year, you've borrowed 60K. Okay, you've paid back probably 78%, meaning your 18K, so it's 78K minus 60K, 18,000 is the cost that you incurred to maintain this lifestyle. Now, if you can afford this 18K, because we say dawa deni ni kulipa, you'll still, kama, if you need to pay 65, you'll find that 65 to pay because you need 5K again. It's a loop that you're getting yourself into.
And sometimes this will increase depending on how you repay your loan.
Yes.
So in Amanisha, if they're now getting 5,000 Kenyan shillings, then if they pay it on time, it increases to say 10,000 Kenyan shillings. Then let's do that 10,000 Kenyan shillings.
So
let's create another one here. before inipige chenga. I have it. Here it is. So let's do 10,000.
So I want to borrow 10K now. Yeah, it's the same thing. I pay, if we're working with 30%,
yes.
So how much am I paying? What is 30% of 10,000?
That's, is it 300, 3,000?
It's 3,000, yeah? So I'm paying 10,000, I'm paying 13K. Okay?
30%.
30%. So in 6 months, it's 13K, because we're working with 180%, yeah? Times 6. How much is this?
Let's see. I have my calculator ready. That's 78,000.
That's 78K.
That's a lot of money.
Yes. But we don't see this. What we're seeing is the 10K that I want in my wallet in the next 5 minutes.
Now I inaisha haraka.
Okay? So imagine this person has a salary. So they're probably earning,
say 40,000.
They're probably earning 40K. Okay? They live in Nairobi.
Yeah.
What is the rent ideally for this person?
You know, when you're looking at it from, is it 30, 50, I'm a 50, 30?
No, avoid the calculation. Let's live in the Nairobi. Yeah, realistically.
Where people live beyond their
yes,
means.
yes. How much is this person paying in rent? They're probably working in Westie.
Let's do, director is telling me 15, but let's do 15, yes.
15. So 15 goes to rent. This is an essential expense.
Yes.
Meaning you have to sort it every other month, whether you like it or not. Okay? So what have I remained here with? 25. Okay? 25. This person has to look good. They're going to the office.
Yes.
They need to have this amenity. They're doing field work, those accommodations, all right? So imagine if this person goes to the salon or to the barber every other month, okay? That's one. They're probably paying gym membership. Yeah. Okay? But there are people who are doing that, right? Yes. So for importance, it's important for us to look good, but it's not essential for us to go to the salon every month or go to the barber every month. I don't know about the guys, but there's something you can do around it, okay? It's important for us to, again, look good, but there are home workouts that we can actually explore. I don't need to go to pay gym membership for that. So if this person is doing this, so how much are they paying for this category B? We can say this is category A, this is category B. This was important, but not essential.
That is luxury things.
Yes, not luxury. Not luxury. These are things that they need so that they can be able to maintain the work that they are doing.
Let's do 10K.
10K.
Yes.
Okay.
That's 25.
So what is the balance? 15K. All right. Sherehe.
Sherehe ni must.
Sherehe ni must by this squeeze. In fact, I usually tell my people, sherehe needs to be in your budget. You don't need to like put it to core. Please budget for your sherehe. And sherehe is not booze alone that you're going drinking or what. It could be a road trip to Naivasha. It could be you've gone somewhere, you've gone to Diani, you've gone to all these places. Just something that makes you, because life is chaotic as is, something that makes you whole. So how much does this person? So if we're saying 10K a weekend, so week 1, this guy has received his salary or her salary week 1. Already 15K is remaining, all right? Then weekend happens. They spend like 10K.
We have 5K.
We have 5K. Week 2 is not here, week 3 is not here, week 4 is not here, so that they can receive the next 40K. So do? They go to the digital lender. They get the 10K. So it supplements. So now, if week 1 I spend 10K, I have 5K. So plus the digital lender's 10K, I have 15K. Okay? So I repeat. So if this person doesn't have another source of income, and that's the other way for you to get out of debt, you need to have as many income streams as possible. So if this person is just relying on the 40K, this person is more likely to be stuck in this debt loop for years and years and years on end.
If this way of lifestyle continues.
Yes.
Now, say we're working with this 40,000 shillings, right? Let me just increase it kidogo. 40,000 salary. But then we have this 10,000 Kenyan shillings here. Actually, it's now 13,000 Kenyan shillings, which is the debt that they're supposed to repay. Then how can we repay it with this 40,000 Kenyan shillings and still, live just a good lifestyle? Is it possible?
No. It's not.
Atalipa aje hiyo 13,000?
Itabidi tu ametafuta kazi ingine. Either you find something that will supplement your 40K or avoid sherehe as much as possible, like be indoors and all that. If it's going to cost you 10K, then maybe work with 5, because sherehe, again, it's a big part. It's a big part. Let us not look down on that. We really need it right now, this for our mental health. So if this is work with the 5K or move to a cheaper house, like it will take a whole recalculation of your lifestyle. But we know for sure, like it's very hard for people to go back and say and revisit and say, I am going to change my lifestyle. No, we live in a society where uko, where you tokea. You know, in as much as you would want to do this, unfortunately or unknowingly for you, you'll find yourself still stuck in this loop. Yeah.
So
and then now there's black tax. This guy hasn't even sent cash home. So we're imagining the mom, the dad, the brother, all these people, because we're children of the society. Even you at some point, someone supported you. Whether you know about it or not, someone supported you in one way or another. It's ideal for you to also give back at some point. So with this calculation, this person, if they don't find another source of income that will help them sustain this lifestyle that they're living right now, they will always be in debt.
Now that you're using 40,000 Kenyan shillings, that's an example of, you know, income, monthly income. Let's create an emergency fund with this 40,000 Kenyan shillings. How do we do it? Well, still just maintaining this, you know, this lifestyle. Important, we talk about sherehe and of course rent and all that. Let's do emergency fund.
Okay, so what is an emergency fund? An emergency fund is a pool of funds that you set aside to cater for your emergencies. Ideally, we recommend 6 months worth your lifestyle. So what this person needs to do is understand what is the worth of my lifestyle in a month. I am making the 40K, but my lifestyle is probably 60.
Yes.
Okay, so if my lifestyle is 60K times 6 months,
that is 3,600. 36?
360K. See, 60K for 6 months. So it's 360,000. So this person, bare minimum, has to have 360K stacked up somewhere for emergencies. Now, this person is already in debt. Okay? But this is the ideal situation. So what this person needs to do is set aside a few funds every month towards the emergency fund. In fact, if you're talking about savings for this person, the priority is not a car or a piece of land, is what? The emergency fund. Now, there's no limit or there's no standard or specific amount of money that you need to set aside for emergency. You can even do 500, you can even do 100. The goal is you cultivate that habit that gets you to a point where every other month or every month you're putting aside money. So with this person for 60K, they can say 2K
Per month.
per month. And they do a standing order. Because again, if this is the lifestyle they're living, the relationship with money is very unhealthy at this point. Do a standing order so that by the time the money is coming into the account, 2K has already gone into either a money market fund. All right? Now, money market funds is a smart way of saving. We talked about the banks and the whatnot and how their interest rates are not really lucrative. So money markets now come into place. What is a money market? A money market, again, is a pool of funds from different individuals, and then they're being invested. The interest that they get, you get your interest based on how much you have, your capital, basically. All right? So money markets are good for capital preservation, because we need to preserve this amount of money, and for growth or for income. Okay? So those are the three different goals of investment. So this 2K, you put it in an emergency fund, and then probably at the end of the month you have, because again, the interest rates are not that good, but they are better than the banks. So maybe you make 200 that month. So in your emergency fund, you have 2,200. So this becomes your capital for the other month. So you start the other month with 2,200. It ongezas, so it becomes 24. Okay, so that means if the interest rates remain constant. But now with the emergency funds, again, is they will save, so they'll probably buy the treasury bonds, the treasury bills, because with the money market, you want somewhere where your money is secure and accessible. So your risk appetite at this point, you're risk averse. So you're either a conservative investor or a moderate investor. But it's a smart way of going about it. So this person now will continue every month, so if they're doing this at the end of the month, so if you say 2,000 times 12, by the end of that year, they've saved 24,000. All right? So what's the difference? 360,000 minus 24,000?
Let's do that. 360,000 minus 24,000. That's 336,000.
336. So by the end of year one, they have a shortfall of 336, but they have 24K. So if this is happening, you see the 10K that they were borrowing, they'll stop. Okay? They'll stop because at this point, they have created that habit. And then they have seen the ripple effect. So this person will most likely not save 2,000 in year two. They'll probably save even more. Okay? And then you also have to factor in inflation. The rising cost of living. Every other year it changes. The price of bread right now and the price of bread 5 years ago, complete difference. In fact, even the size of bread has gone. It's 400 grams right now, okay? So you also have to factor in. And then now, with the emergency fund, again, when it comes to money, I told you money is a game. You have to begin with the end in mind. Think of yourself 20 years from now. Where do you want to be? What kind of lifestyle do you want to have? What schools are your children going? This kind of wife that you want to have, how is she? What is her worth? How much, like
Yes,
like women are flowers. Yes, everything is transactional, all right?
Yeah.
Then now you work backwards. When you work backwards, now you'll know I need to save X amount of money every month so that I can be able to afford that kind of lifestyle. We call it the time value of money, and it's one of the things that we teach at Centonomy. So once you understand the time value of money, you'll realize, I'll tell you, let me give you a secret.
Let's do another.
If I'm saving 150 shillings every day, okay? If I put it in an investment avenue that gives me 10% compounding, compounding meaning your interest is earning interest. My 2,200 shillings. My 2,200 shillings and another 200 shillings. That's the power of compounding. It kicks in when you're investing, okay? So if you put 150 shillings in an investment vehicle that gives you 10%, for 10 years, untouched, this is a million bob.
Is it possible for it to go untouched?
It is. Discipline. It is. This is a million shillings. What is the price of 150 right now? This is a cup of coffee somewhere. This is ukona sombili urgently. This is, this is that money that we really don't think about very keenly. So someone asks you for cash, all right? You're somewhere, you're having tea, coffee with a friend. Let me cover your bill. Okay, so you do that unknowingly. But that amount of money can set you forward in a very big way if you put it in somewhere that does this for 10 years.
Kathleen, is it possible to build wealth while in debt?
It is, as long as the debt you're using it is good debt.
All right.
If it's bad debt, it's not possible. I'll tell you that for sure, it's not possible.
All right, so it's 2026.
Yes.
And you are the head of programs and training at Centonomy. You interact with money. You talk about money.
Yes.
Money, you sleep money. You wake up money. What are the 2026 financial decisions that you're making that you would want us to steal? Hata kama utaki tuibe from you.
Okay, all right. So I'll give you three.
As we wind up.
Yes. So the first one.
You're good there?
Yes.
Okay.
So the first one is pay yourself first. What do I mean by this? Every month, before you take out money to buy whatever you wanted to buy that month, that thing that you've actually been wanting so much, put aside money. Make sure there's money that has been put aside. Depending again on how the month looks like, because again with emergencies, you might find yourself even spending way more than what you had actually anticipated. But pay yourself first. The good way to go about it is by doing standing orders. So that by the time that money gets into your account, by the time you say I'm liquid right now, you've already paid yourself. Okay? That's number one. So if you're not doing this in 2026, Oh my good. I don't know what to tell you. Like, no, your failure is on your hands at this point. So pay yourself first.
All right.
Okay. So you do this by saving and investing. Saving and investing is not the same. So if your money is in the bank, all your money is in the bank, you're a saver. You're not an investor. Okay. Saving is putting your money in a place where it's secure and accessible. I can easily access cash at the bank. It's safe. Security is there. Investing, I talked about the 3 goals of investing. Capital preservation, growth, and income.
As we wind up?
Yes. Okay. Number 2, we have track your expenses. Track your expenses. Have a budget. All right? Have a realistic budget. Where now your essentials are taken care of, your important but not essentials are taken care of, and then the others. Okay? Then number 3, focus on assets. This is where financial freedom lies, assets. You do that by investing. Okay? Invest. Purchase assets as much as possible.
All right.
These 3, you're good.
We're good to go for 2026.
Yes.
All right. That is Kathleen Mureithi, Head of Training and Programs, Head of Programs and Training at Centonomy Limited. Of course, talking to us about money and how to get out of debt as we set financial decisions for 2026. Where can we get Centonomy?
Across all social media avenues, Centonomy, you'll never find us. Also me, Kathleen Mureithi. Let's interact on the digital platforms. Yeah, you can easily find us.
All right, that brings us to the end of this conversation. Thank you so much for watching and for interacting with us. My name is Anne Odida. Good morning.